Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, listeners. This is your host, Andy Curry, and welcome to the show today. I'm excited because I have on the phone with me right now Rick Broniec, who has been speaking since 2007. The content he speaks on is really interesting. You're going to like this. It's called Vibrant Relationships. That's what I said, folks, Vibrant Relationships. He speaks in the U.S. and internationally as well. He's going to be speaking in Iran shortly, which is interesting. Maybe he'll tell us a little bit about that. Rick is based out of California. He has written 2 books. The first one is called The Passionate Life, 7 Steps for Reclaiming Your Passion, Purpose, and Joy. The second book, which is a bestseller, is called The 7 Generations Story, an Incentive to Heal Yourself, Your Family, and the Planet. Rick, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Andy. I'm really excited to be here with you today.
Oh, you're welcome. We're glad to have you here. Did I get that last part on your second book correctly? Because I'm trying to read my writing. Did I hit that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You did get it right. Thank you.
Okay, well, that's the first thing I got right today. That's awesome. Okay. Well, Rick, tell us about your speaking business. Who is it you're talking to? What are you teaching them? And why are they having you come teach them?
Well, thanks for that question, Andy. My speaking business is 3-pronged. I am the vibrant relationship guy, as you said at the beginning, and I work with individuals and organizations that are interested in creating and maintaining strong, healthy, vibrant relationships through leadership training, through multicultural awareness training, and through personal growth, particularly transformational personal growth. I've been doing this for quite a long time. As you mentioned, my business has been active for 8 years, but I was doing speaking and workshops for about 20 years before that on these same topics. Now, who do I speak to? I speak to a wide range of audiences, from corporate executives, businesses, not-for-profits, schools, and then individuals who are interested in pursuing what I have to offer. Now, what do I teach? Well, a wide range of things, as I suggested in my intro. Some of the key stuff is I believe in the power of having a mission of service, intense beauty and incentive to live a really useful, powerful, effective life by having an effective mission. So I take people through a process, creating their own mission of service, having an amazing vision of what the world could be like, if their gifts were radiated to the world in a powerful way, and also what is the action that person's going to take to make that vision a reality. And then there's all kinds of other associated things that we do with that. But once a person has a mission, there's nothing stopping him or her from becoming the man or woman they were meant to be on this planet. I have a very strong belief that all of us were meant to be here, to be of service in some way. So that's one of the main things I teach. I also have a very deep personal mission myself that deals with multicultural awareness. As you know, I was a public school teacher for 35 years before I got into the speaking business. I taught in a very diverse school district in Wisconsin, which is now a majority minority district. And I live in Southern California, which is also majority minority these days. I love diversity. I love working with diversity. I have a very diverse family. And I'm not just talking about racial diversity. I'm talking about religion, culture, sexual orientation, class, and so forth. And so I work with groups interested in exploring that. I have a partner who's African American that I use and I work with to do that. And I provide some content, some really good tools to help people come to terms with this very difficult and controversial topic. Finally, I do a great deal of work around helping people undergo transformational growth. I do this through leading trainings for a couple of organizations. One of them is the men's organization called the Mankind Project. MKP.org is their website. They do transformational work for men, obviously. And I'm a leader and leader trainer for that organization. And I work for some other organizations as well in the area of personal growth, which includes all the things that I mentioned previously. So those are the main areas that I tend to focus on.
Okay. That's rather vast. Now, we had talked before the interview. Because I had asked you, are you speaking in the U.S. and internationally? And you said that you are going to Iran before long to speak.
That's correct. In November, there's a business conference in Isfahan, Iran, which is right in the center of the country, just a little south of Tehran. And I've been asked to be a keynote speaker and also to do a leadership training workshop there. And it's a one-day conference. There's going to be about 500 business people from across their country. And now that the U.S. and Iran have come to some terms, it is much safer for an American such as myself to go to that conference and offer my gifts to what I'm told is a very, very hungry community of business people looking to grow and looking to modernize their work. I'd be really excited about this opportunity.
Well, I'm excited for you. I'm also nervous for you in lieu of everything, and I'm sure the listeners are thinking that as well, but it does sound like a neat opportunity. How did they find out about you? Because there's, lots of people all over the world. How did they find out about you?
Well, that's a great question, Andy. I appreciate that. Because I'm not famous and internationally known, like many of the people that are featured on the Business Innovators are. But they got my name through National Speakers Association and through eSpeakers, which is an arm of the NSA. And I'm pleased to say that I applied and they accepted my application. So I'm very excited about that. So using speakers bureaus and international speakers organizations pays off.
Definitely. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, I want to ask you a question about your books. I really like this one, The Passionate Life: The 7 Steps for Reclaiming Your Passion, Purpose, and Joy. How long ago did you write that?
It was published in 2011, Andy. It's available on Amazon. CreateSpace was published on, and it's also available on Kindle. That book deals with, obviously, the topic of finding, developing, and completely owning your passion and your purpose, and through that, creating a joyful existence for yourself. Most of us think making more money or being successful in business is going to bring us joy. And the truth is, with many of the people I've worked with, that is not the truth. They get to a certain point, and yes, it feels good, and yes, they're successful, but there's something missing. And what's missing often is that passion and that sense of purpose or mission, as I mentioned earlier, that allows that person to take that successful life and use it in service to their family, to the world, to their community, and perhaps to some higher power. When that's done, people find a much deeper sense of accomplishment, a deeper sense of connection with themselves and with the planet. And that's what I really want to see in people. I want to see them get that aha and have that sense of deep passion, deep purpose, which inevitably brings deep joy.
I have a friend that's very close to me, and she was saying she didn't know what her passion was, her purpose.
Absolutely. Well, my book and, of course, my work brings people through a process to help them discover that. I think there's many people, Andy, like your friend, who isn't clear about what it is, or they believe their purpose is to run a business or to be successful in a career or to get an education or whatever. Those things are all beautiful and powerful and in service to a purpose. But I don't believe those are the real purposes we're here. I think there's a higher purpose that most of us are aware of. Most of us have a sense that we're here for a good reason. We just don't know what it is. And if I can help people come to terms with that, to discover that, to own it for themselves, there's a lot of joy in my life helping people do that.
I would think that is such a ubiquitous desire. That in itself could be, a lifelong work for somebody. If when you help somebody find their purpose, what is the trigger that says this is it?
Well, that's a great question. A wonderful question, Andy. And I wish I could say it in just a sentence, but it's hard to describe. Usually what happens is a person will explore what's important to them, and they will have what I call an aha moment or a truth response in their heart and in their soul that says, this is it. And I've worked with people who have been very, very successful in the business world and who were not very satisfied with their lives, who discovered their purpose and began to do work in their communities, in their churches, in the larger world, and service work, and finding an enormous pleasure in that, and feeling like they finally felt like they were doing what they were meant to do on the planet. Now, it doesn't mean they stopped doing their business work. They didn't stop making money. I'm not advocating for that at all. I'm advocating using those skills, using that education, using those resources, and to whatever level you wish to do some service in the world. And if we look around the world, we know that it is desperately in need of leaders who will do that. Desperately in need of that. Here in the United States and all over the planet.
Can you give an example of somebody you helped? Of course, don't give any names, but can you give a process of what you did with them to give listeners an idea?
Wow. Okay. Let me think for just a moment here. I'm going to speak about my good friend, Henry. Henry is one of my dearest friends. We've been friends for about 25 years. We're very, very close. And he, working with me and a group, discovered his mission in life. And his mission in life was all about working with the inner city minority community, because he's a black man himself, particularly young men and young women of color. He started a program in his school district that went for 10 years. And he worked with many hundreds of young Black and Latino male and female gangbanger type kids, and touched their lives in such a way and redirected their lives and helped them find their mission and their passion and their purpose. Just recently, Henry called me and shared with me a Facebook post from one of the students that he worked with 10 years ago. And to paraphrase it, it said, "Dear Henry, I wanted you to know that the work you did with me back in school in the program, which was called the CHAMP program, completely changed my life. I just finished medical school, and I'm starting my career as an MD, working in a small hospital here in the city, working with poor and disadvantaged people. And I did that because of you." Now, he called me cheerfully with that message and joyfully, and I had a good cry and a good laugh with him as we celebrated that young man who made that tremendous transition from inner city gangbanger to practicing physician. That's the kind of thing that I love to do, Andy.
Now, when you say gangbanger, you're saying this young person was in a gang, really going the wrong direction, could have been committing crimes, murders for all we know.
Yes, exactly right. In fact, there were men and women from, or I should say young men and women, high school age kids, in several different gangs that came through the program. And I actually worked with Henry in that program for a while as kind of a teacher and a staff man. And they agreed to put aside their colors just for the weekend so they could work together. And it was a moving experience to see that. These young men and young women making these adult decisions to change their lives.
Wow. Yeah, that's that. I can see why that really gets your juices flowing. Definitely.
No kidding. And I have many, many stories like that. Many.
I'll bet. Well, what a great life you have to be able to do that and live your passion. That's something I bet you most people feel like they aren't doing or can't do. Would you agree or not?
I would say there's a dawning awareness on people in the world that this is available, that there is something more than just making a living. There's something more than just living my own life. And it brings a great sense of satisfaction. I think there's many, many people that struggle with how to do that. And that's why I'm here and people like me who do this kind of work. Mm-hmm. I am happy to work with individuals and organizations. I also do coaching, and I coach people through these same processes one-on-one as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, speaking of which, Rick, how can people get a hold of you then should they want to get coaching or want to hear you speak or know more?
Great. Thanks for that question. Well, they can go to my websites. I have two of them. One of them is www.vibrantrelationshipsguy.com. And the second one is www.7generationsstory.com, which, of course, comes from my second book.
Okay.
Both of those have ways to contact me, have ways to engage me for keynote speeches or workshops on these topics.
Okay, very good. Well, Rick, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure and a fascinating topic. That story about the gangster. Yeah. That was very moving. Thank you for that.
You're very, very welcome. And there's lots more on my website and in my books, Andy. I really appreciate the chance to share this with your listeners. It's been a joy.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.